Hello, everyone. This is Jasmine Jackson, founder and executive director of the Accelerated Training Program. We're a newer nonprofit that started in 2022. We're focused on digital and educational equity for underserved groups. And with that, what that means is we have a focus in cybersecurity education. So, exposing underrepresented, underserved groups in cybersecurity education. We're currently in the K through 12 space, but are looking to expand into the collegiate and apprenticeship space down the line. If you would like to know more about our organization, visit our website at www.t-atp.org. We also have our one pager at this link here. And if you would like to donate, click the donate button. Thank you so much for listening to our short PSA, and the video will be starting shortly. Have a good day. Hello, and welcome to another Ponent Friday. In this lesson or video, I feel like I'm in a classroom. In this video, we're going to solve Chocolate Factory from Try Hack Me, a Charlie in the Chocolate Factory themed room, revisit Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Okay, so we're going to start the machine and I'm going to start the attack box as well. Okay. So, welcome to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. We have a golden ticket. This room was designed so that hackers can revisit the Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory and meet Oompa Loompa. This is a beginner friendly room, so if we have any issues, we can reach out on Discord or Twitter. So, thank you to Andy Infosec for creating the room. So, let's wait for everything to start and we'll get started. Okay. We deployed the machine because we have IP address, so that's done. Now let's get to the challenge. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is use Mmap to see what services and ports are open, and I'm using VV for verbose. And we have, it looks like 11 services. Some of these services might not be helpful for us. Um, I see 21, which is FTP, 22, which is SSH, 80, which is HTTP. So we'll wait for Mmap to finish to see if there's any other goodies. Okay. While that is working, we can we know port 80 is open, which is HTTP. So what we can do is see if we can find any hidden directories or hidden files. So I'm going to use GoBuster, which is a application, and I'm going to say we're looking for directories, and we're going to pass in our URL, which is 10.10.147.21, our word list, which is user share word list, uh, Durbuster directory 23 medium. So whenever I'm looking for directories, I always use directory list 2.3 medium because that's a pretty big list. Also, I'm going to use the X command to look for a particular type of files. So in this case, PHP, TXT, DB, doc, and we're going to see what we find. Okay, so we see home.php. Okay, this is still working. So if I open a browser, Okay. Huh. And with this home.php, we see this command here and it says execute. We see a text box and execute. So, something that I'm thinking is this might be susceptible to local file inclusion where we can access files on a server. And the way to check that out is I'm going to assume this is a Linux box and I'm going to say LS So this is going to do a long listing. That's the dash L. And the A is to print everything, including hidden files. And hidden files in Linux are marked with a period in front of the file name. So I'm going to execute. And what do you know? It worked. So that lets me know that local file inclusion is available, is present on this server. We see home.jpg, home.php, which is the site we're on, image, index.html, um, index.php.back, key, ref key, and validate.php. Okay, so something else I'm going to do now, I'm going to do directory traversal. So I am going to go to the root directory and I'm doing a semicolon because I'm going to enter two commands. So the first command is we're going to go all the way to the top of the directory. And then the next command is I'm going to do another long listing. Okay, so now we have even more directories. So bin, boot, CD-ROM. So we're at the very top of the directory of the root of the server. Excuse me. So we're at the very top of the server because we're seeing root, sbin, sys, temp, user, var. So we're at the very top. So where do we go from here? Let's go to home. Let's go to the home directory. And so the way we're going to do that, home, and again, LSLA. So now looking at the page source, we see there's Charlie. There's a Charlie directory. Okay, so Charlie. Okay, so now I'm in the Charlie directory and I see home, image, index.php, and validate.php. Okay. So let me. Okay. Let me close this. I want to make sure. Charlie. Okay. So view page source. Okay. So that's where we were. Now, if I'm going to do a ls again. Okay, so it looks like we're in Charlie. So let's see. Not now. So, okay. On view page source. Image. Okay. So, I'm looking for. Okay. Okay, so if I say ls la, okay, so that's the HTML. So okay, looks. I think I'm in the HTML. Charlie. Oh, okay. I know why this is Charlie LSLA because I skipped a directory. I skipped the home directory. So it was like, hey, I don't know what you're looking for. Okay. Yes, because I was like, wait, this doesn't look right. Okay, so now we're in the Charlie directory. So we see a bash RC, cache, GNU PG, local, profile, and now we see, we see the user.txt, but we can't view it. Um, and I can prove that if I go home Charlie cat user.txt. It didn't work. So we don't have access. So, but what's important here is this teleport. Let's open that file. So I want to say cat, not cat, excuse me, cd. Home Charlie cat teleport. Okay. So what do we have here? We have a private key. And I kind of knew that because teleport.pub, this is a public files that end in .pub or for public keys, and then the private key is just the name without extension. So, what do we use public and private keys for? We use them for SSH. Now, if we go back to our nmap here, we see SSH is one of the services and it's open. So maybe we can use the private key to log into the SSH server as Charlie. Let's try that. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to copy the private key where it says begin and end. We're going to copy that. We're going to open a text editor. We're going to copy it. We're going to save it. I'm going to save it to the desktop. And I'm just going to call it teleport. Okay. Now, going back to the command line, if we change to desktop, we see our teleport here. And we see that it has read, write, read, read. Okay, so when we want to use the private key, we need to change the permissions. And so essentially, we're going to change the permissions to 600. So what does that mean? That means that only didn't want to do that. That means that only the owner can read and write. Groups cannot do anything and other cannot do anything. So if I say change mode 600, teleport, and I do a ls, as I said, read write, and no one else can do anything. Okay? So this is very important. If you do not make the permission 600, it will be overly permissive, and SSH will complain and be like, hey, this is too permissive. We can't use this. So, how are we actually going to log in? We're going to say SSH, and we are going to guess based on the room that the username is Charlie, and we're going to log in at 147.21. Oh, hold on. I forgot something. We're going to say -I, and we're going to pass in the teleport file. Because the reason why I canceled this, we don't know the password, right? So we don't know the password. So if I would have kept going, the next prompt would have said, hey, enter Charlie's password. We don't know that yet. So the way we're going to bypass that is, hey, we have this private key, and we're assuming the private key belongs to Charlie. So log us in using Charlie's private key. So we're going to say yes. And we're in. So that is a neat trick. If you have a private key and no password for SSH, you can log in, but you have to make the private key change the permissions. Okay, so if we ls, let's go to home. Let's go to Charlie. And as you can see here, we see the teleport, which is the private key, teleport.pub, which is the public key, and we can actually open that. And again, the username is Charlie. So I just surmised that. So if we say cat user.txt, this is the flag. So it is flag cd 5509042371B 34E 4826E 4838B522D2E. Okay. So, who am I? I'm Charlie. So we were able to do that. Now, how are we going to? So there's actually two ways to solve this room. So I'm doing one way. I might do another video on how to solve it the other way. Okay, so how can we find Charlie's password? So if we go here, let's go to var I'm looking for the HTML. Okay, so okay. So that's when we were doing the directory traversio. This is what we were seeing in the beginning. So let's just say if I say cat index php.back. Okay, this really doesn't say anything, but this does show us this shows the directory traversio right here. So, okay. Let's see. Let's Okay, that is not what I wanted. Okay, let's come back to Charlie's password. I do see this key rev key. So if I say key rev key, okay, I can't execute. Okay, so let's say I do key rev key. That didn't help me. Okay, it looks like this is a file. So let's just say I do string of key rev key. So what this will do is, oh, strings, key rev key. Okay. So what this will do is get all of the strings inside of the file. And it won't execute it. So enter your name. This is the name. And congratulations, you found the key. So this looks like this is the key. I'm going to copy. Okay, I don't know if that's going to be the full key. Okay, it was. Okay. So that was the key. We use strings when you have a application or a program and it returns junk. You can use the strings command to strip and find all of the text in that file. So that's how we were able to find the key. Okay. So, cat validate.php. Okay. So, inside of validate PHP, we found Charlie's password. Okay. So, it's saying in PHP, it's like, hey, what is the username password? We got that, right? And it's saying, hey, if the username is Charlie and the password is CN7824, log in. So saying, hey, you have entered the correct username and password, log in. Otherwise, say, no, you don't have the correct password. So his password is 7N7824. Okay. Now, the very last question, enter the root flag. Okay, so again, if I do a who am I, I'm Charlie. So, in order, I'm going to try to go to the root directory, and as you can see, a permission denied. So, with the root directory, that can only be accessible by the root user. Anyone else will receive this permission denied. So how are we going to go from Charlie to root? Well, we're going to do something called privilege escalation. How are we going to do that? One of the first things that I do is, especially with this being a Linux box, I'm going to try sudo-l. What does that do? Sudo-l goes to the sudoers file, sudoers file, and what that file, one of the things that file lists is, hey, if I want, as a system administrator, you might say, hey, look, I don't want to log in as root or admin every time I need to run a command, right? So what I will do is I will add an entry inside of the sudoers file and say, hey, for this application, I want this application to run as root, right? So whenever I'm a standard user and I execute this command, it's going to execute it as the administrator. Okay. So what does that mean in this case? So we did sudo-l, And we see for user Charlie, they can run the VI application no password, which is supremely insecure, and they can get root, right? So what this is saying is, hey, if you execute the VI command as Charlie, you can execute this command and you will automatically be transferred to root and you don't have to enter a password. So as you can imagine, that's extremely insecure, right? If you are doing privilege escalation, you should be very mindful of the applications you're doing it with, meaning that it should be done very sparingly. B, you should make sure that a user enters a password for them to do the privilege escalation. In this case, that's not what's happening here. As Charlie, we could use execute the VI program, and get root with no password. So how are we going to do that? Let's go back to a browser, and I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to say VI privilege escalation. And GFTO bins is really good. Okay, so how can we do this? There's many ways we can do this. I'm going to use sudo because we did the sudo dash L. So let me minimize this. And so what I'm going to say, sudo vi dash c sh dev null. Okay, so I'm still Charlie. So looks like that might not have worked. So let me try this again. So I'm going to say vi and set shell then sh shell. Okay, who am I? Okay, I'm still Charlie. Huh. That is interesting. Okay, so vi dash c. Yeah. Okay. Huh. This is interesting. Okay. Do. I don't think I have to do this, but let's see. Okay. Okay, so I had to provide a file. it was complaining because it's like, hey, dev null is not a file. So I provided a file of validate.php. Now we were able to escalate. And another way you can tell we escalated because this dollar sign turned to a hashtag, and that lets us know we are root. So now if I go cd root, I'm in. Okay. So we have this root.py. So let me say python root.py. I'm going to guess it's going to be his password. Okay. So let me say root.py. Okay. Da, 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 da. Encrypted mess, decrypt. Okay. Print mess. What input key? Find key. Oh, I think the key was actually. No. Uh, no, I was right the first time for www. HTML. Now, if I say strings key ref key, because I entered the password, I don't think it was that. I think it's this. So that's the key. So now if I go back to root, ls python root.py, and I enter the key, we got the flag. Okay, flag CEC 5916 1D 338 FEF 787 FCB 4E296 B42124. Okay. And we solved it. I was entering the password when it should have been the key, and I had the key. Okay. So this is one way to actually solve the challenge, solve this box. There's another way to solve it, and I might do another video on how to solve it the second way. Okay, so just to recap. First, I did Nmap or Network Mapper because I wanted to see what services were available. Some of these services were red herrings. So 21 FTP, 22 SSH, and 80 HTTP were the ones that we needed. The others were red herrings. Next, did a forced browsing to look for hidden directories or hidden files using GoBuster. Another is Dirbuster, but GoBuster uses Go, and it's what people use now. We're specifying directories. We're specifying the URL 10.10.147.21, which is my IP address. Yours will be different. We're specifying a word list, user share, word list, Dirbuster, directory list 2.3 medium txt. And I use that because that's a pretty big size of different directories, and we're specifying certain extensions. That's what the hyphen x is for. Excuse me. So we're looking for PHP, TXT, databases, and docs. So we see this home.php. Going there, we see a command and execute. So with that, it's like, I think this is we can do local file inclusion. And that's what we were able to do. So now, from there, we started going up the chain, seeing what we could find. Inside of the Charlie directory, we noticed there was a teleport and a teleport.pub. The teleport.pub is public and then the teleport is private. So with SSH, if you don't have a password for a particular user, if you have their private key, you can log in using their private key. And that's what we did here. Oh, it's not showing. Crap. But that's how we logged in. Or is it here? Okay. But we logged in using the SSH hyphen I teleport, which was the name, and then the user Charlie at 10.10.147.21. Yours will be different. Before that, we had to change the permissions to 600. Otherwise, it would be overly permissive and it would not have worked. From there, we logged in and then we had to look for the key. And how we did that, we went to the var www HTML, and we noticed the key rev key, which was a program. When we executed it, it displayed junk. So another thing we did was use the strings command to look for strings. From there, we found the key, which was this. And also inside of the HTML folder, we saw a validate.php, which validated the username and password, which the username is Charlie. The password is CN7824. Okay, thank you. And from there, inside of the Charlie directory, we found the user flag. For the root, we had to escalate. We used sudo -l, which lets us see which applications we can run to get root. It was VI. From there, we did a Google search and went to GTFO bins. And I was using this here, and it wasn't working because this dev null is not a file. So I substituted that with the validate.php, was able to escalate to root, went to the root folder, saw a root.py, started the program, and it said enter the key. Originally, I entered the password. It didn't work, so I entered the key that we had, and now we're the owner of the chocolate factory. So I hope that you learned something in this video. This was a fun one, and it was twists and turns, and it was cool. So, like I said, there's another way to solve this box, and I might do a challenge, another video on the second way to actually solve this. So, hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.